creator. So if you have been watching my reels on Instagram, then you know that I am participating in Magical Readathon, hosted by Book Roast, and I'm very excited about it. So let's talk about it. So in order to participate in Magical Readathon Orilium, you first have to create a character, and my character's name is Prose Ithalusa. This is my Scholar's Key, which is essentially like a character sheet for the character that you're creating for Magical Readathon. My guild is the Mindwalkers, which I will show you a little bit of information about in a minute. My calling is Storyweaver, and I will show you more about that as well. I am a novice level certification, which is what everyone starts at, and then you try and level up your character through reading books. My background is urban, which means I came from a big city, and I came from a big city in the province of Dark Meadow. My heritage is an Tyrion, and I was born on a blood moon. My conduit, which is what you use to like focus your magic, because everyone in this game readathon thing is a mage of some sort. So my conduit is a dagger with a sapphire in its hilt, and my guild legacy is the astral plane. So let's go through some of those things and explain what is going on with my character. So let's start with discussing my guild. So I am in the Mindwalkers Guild. This is our little symbol thing. And I'm going to read to you a little bit about the Mindwalkers. The Mindwalkers focus on magic of the cognitive nature. Their interests lie within the realm of perceived and veiled reality. They pride themselves in their skills with the art of illusion. A mind is a complex thing, but the Mindwalkers were never intimidated by that, only intrigued. They put a great focus on all enchantments and incantations, as well as psionic forces such as telepathy and telekinesis. The vast majority believe that time is not linear, which led to great explorations in the field of divination. The guild places a lot of value in psychology as well as the more traditional approaches to magic. They believe that knowing the individual, their motivations, their drives, their strengths and weaknesses takes priority. Psychology and analysis is a big part of lessons offered by the guild. Naturally, many graduates excel in roles that require great understanding of the opposing forces and non-linear thinking, as well as insight and deceit. As a member, you will be able to pick an alternate plane of existence and spend years there exploring the ways to it, around it, and the meaning of it all. Mindwalkers require a lot of solitude and meditation to focus and calibrate their mind. However, the support system the guild offers is excellent. Weekly gatherings are held to release tension and unwind, filled with music, easy games, and delicious food. This takes place in the Mind Palace, a members-only place, which consists of a maze of rooms, each with their own purposes. These include, but are not limited to, sensory deprivation chambers, time exploration, meditation gardens, libraries, and dueling grounds. With each guild, there is a unique calling that you can choose specifically if you're a part of that guild. I did not pick that calling for my character, but the unique calling for the Mindwalkers is a Dreamwalker. The unique gift is that you get a secondary plane of existence, which we'll talk about later. Your unique conduit is the dagger, which is what I have. The guild specialties are art of illusion, divination, enchantments and incantations, and psionics, and the guild access, as stated above, was Mind Palace. So that's a little bit about the Mindwalkers Guild, which I'm very excited to be a part of. Next, let's talk about my calling. I chose Storyweaver for my calling, and how it works is you're essentially a student at the Orilium Academy, and you pick a calling that you're going to study, and that calling includes what classes you're going to take for each equinox, which we're currently in spring equinox, and in August we're going to be doing autumn equinox. For spring equinox, the classes that I'm going to be taking part in are inscription, art of illusion, psionics and divination, and lore, and I'll explain what that means in a little bit. But first, let's explain what a Storyweaver is. Storyweavers are highly mysterious. Not much is known about the career because of the nature of their work. A Storyweaver has the ability to alter memories and use hypnotic mind control to make others follow their orders. It is believed that Storyweavers work on matters of security concerning all of Aldea. They may work with mage hunters and illusionists on critical missions, though no official reports can confirm this. Because of the morals involved with such a practice, entry to this career is limited and heavily regulated. Those who wish to pursue this line of work will be informed of a month which they must be free. During this month, a Storyweaver will take the applicant to their headquarters, location unknown. There, the applicant will be tested. The nature of this test is also unknown. They will not remember having completed it or even being collected. To them, it will seem as if life continued as normal until the first day after the allocated month. On that day, their life will be theirs again. they will receive a letter informing them of whether they had been accepted. What is known about them is that many story weavers are also fiction writers. There is a great deal of speculation about whether the events they write about in their stories are adapted versions of the missions they've been on. Be careful, as even though they're writing, they can influence your views, memories, and ideas. Despite such a harsh entry system, once the craft secrets are revealed to story weavers, it is impossible to regulate them any further. Some undoubtedly do stray to the morally gray side. In Aldea, the truth is whatever a story weaver wills it to be. So I thought that was really cool. I think it kind of fit with the Mindwalker Guild a little bit because they do kind of control people's minds based off of the stories that they tell and that they write. And I thought that that would appeal to my character because my character, Prose, she really loves storytelling, and she was like kind of gifted with a gift of storytelling from a young age, similar to Cyrilda in Gilded by Marissa Meyer. So she likes to kind of make up stories, and some of them are true and some of them are false, but she just has this gift for storytelling, and so being able to use it to potentially help people. And I don't think that she would stray as much to the morally gray side as some other story weavers, but she definitely loves storytelling, and so she is a fiction writer, and I think that that would appeal to her a lot. So like I said before, my character Prose is from a city in Dark Meadow, and let me tell you a little bit about Dark Meadow. Harsh cold winds, snowy thunderstorms, and shadow-charged air. These are just a few of the challenges in the lands of Dark Meadow. Due to this hostile environment, a lot of the continent remains unexplored. However, there are tales about hard-shelled demons that roam the lands, devouring anyone foolhardy enough to approach them. The terrain is difficult even for those native to Dark Meadow, which is why the cities of Dark Meadow are underground, sheltered inside the mountains. Overnight stays on the surface are not advised. Only the sky-morn wisps were ever able to explore the surface fully. Alarmingly, they do not wish to share their findings of these parts with others. It is known, however, that Dark Meadow is home to dragons. The underworld, a complex maze of grand underground cities in crystal caves and tunnels, is mostly inhabited by Tyrions, who established and maintain the Great Underworld Library. Access to this great trove of knowledge is closely guarded, making it a very coveted privilege to most scholars. Those few fortunate to receive such grace describe the site as breathtaking, marvelous, and glimmering with true light. A rare, pure silver light magic only found on Dark Meadow. Like it said, they maintain the great library there. I think that is probably where my character Prose spent a lot of her time before she started being drawn to Orilium Academy, because she is as a storyteller, and so I think she would also be studying the stories of others so that she can improve her craft. And so I think she would have spent a lot of time in the fiction section and possibly even in the like lore and history section. I think that that would have appealed to her quite a bit. Now let's talk about Tyrions. Tyrions are the most secretive of the races. They reside in the great underworld library of Dark Meadow, and you will scarcely meet an Tyrion elsewhere. Tyrions are trained from a young age to be both quick of wit and body. Over the centuries, the main objective of Tyrions has been to collect and learn from all written texts, especially tomes long lost to the dark forces. Those attending the academy can have a hard time adjusting to its different pace and way of living. Unique features: they are very pale, have red glowing eyes and fangs. Tyrions are the only people with an innate ability to shapeshift, particularly to crow form. Although somewhat abandoned, some clans still carry the teachings of blood magic. Tyrions are repulsed by blood and flesh and do not eat creatures unless avoidable. So they kind of have the aesthetic of a vampire, except that they turn into crows instead of bats, but they do not drink blood. So not vampires, but similar in vibe to a vampire. I chose Tyrion because it made sense with being from Dark Meadow and Prose's time in the Great Library. I think if she was raised as an Tyrion in this area, then it would make a lot of sense for her character. I really liked this idea that she was just this kind of library nerd who loved to read stories and tell stories, and similar to me in a way, I love to read stories and tell stories, and so I just thought it would be a really fun idea for her character, and that's why I chose Tyrion, because it made the most sense with her background. So as part of the guild, her legacy is that she gets to travel to a different plane of existence, and there were a few options, and I chose Astral Plane. Traveling through the astral plane requires extreme concentration, but when mastered, it allows one to slip into the cosmos and magic into existence, a door capable of taking you anywhere on Aldea. This is often favored by those who need meditation or a safe space to retreat to, both physically and mentally. And I chose that for prose because I think that she likes to be alone. I think she's kind of introverted. I think she, even though she loves to tell stories and be performative in that way, she likes to take the spotlight off of her when it's time to relax, when it's time to unwind. And so I think having a safe space to escape to would be something that would appeal to her a lot. And also being able to fast travel between the Great Library in Dark Meadow and the Orilium Academy, I think would be a really big deal for her, because she will struggle a little bit to get used to the academy because of its life and pace and stuff like that. And also the Great Library is her home, and so being able to go home very quickly and have like this safe space around all of her favorite books is just like very her personality. So now let's talk about the actual reading part of the readathon, now that you guys know my character. So as part of the readathon, we all have a syllabus, and it lists the school of magic, the course focus for that school of magic, and then the reading prompt that goes along with that course. The courses that I'm taking as a story weaver are Inscription, Art of Illusion, Psionics and Divination, and Lore. Inscription, the course focus is Glyph of Strength, and it's an intimidating read. The book that I chose to do for my intimidating read is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, because V.E. Schwab intimidates me quite a bit. She is such an excellent writer, and everything she writes is pretty much a big hit, and I'm a storyteller, I'm a writer, and I want to write stories that have that sort of success, and I just don't know that I have what it takes. I hope that I do, and I hope that as I continue to develop my writing, I can get better. She just intimidates me, and so I sometimes put off and procrastinate some of her books, but I'm very excited to be reading The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. The next school of magic that I am studying is the Art of Illusion, and the course focus is Mirror Image, and the reading prompt is a book with a trope that you like. So for that one, I'm reading Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young, because it has enemies to lovers romance, which is one of my favorite tropes, and it's about Vikings, so that sounds really cool. And it's written by the same person who did Fable, which is a series, a duology that I really enjoyed, so yeah, I'm just really looking forward to that one. The next course that I'm participating in is Psionics and Divination, and the course focus is Clairsentience, and the reading prompt is a book set in the future. Now for this one, I had a really hard time coming up with a book set in the future. Not because there aren't a lot of books set in the future, there totally are, but I wanted to read something that I've never read before, and I wanted to read something that wasn't too similar to things that I've read before. So like, I've read The Hunger Games, I've read Divergent, I've read a lot of dystopian things like that, and they're just not really my favorite. I don't have a problem with them by any means. I don't want to like sit here and say, oh, I don't like The Hunger Games and then have everyone get mad at me. No, I really enjoyed The Hunger Games, but I really enjoyed Divergent as well. But when I'm looking for a dystopian, I'm very picky about what I want from it, and I tend to prefer things that are set in the future that are fantasy based, and so I really struggled to come up with some options for this one. But the two books that I'm going to start reading are Iron Widow, which is right here, by Ziran J. Zhao. I think that's how you say that. If not, I apologize. This takes place in a futuristic version of medieval China, and so it's kind of more of a fantasy story, but it does take place in a future society. That'll be really cool, and it kind of fits the prompt, so I'm looking forward to this one. I haven't started it yet, but I think it'll be really cool. And then the other book that I'm considering for this prompt is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I have had some recommendations of that book. I've heard that it's really good. I am, like I said, very picky about dystopian, and so I'm a little bit nervous about it, but I did start it and I do like it so far. I also was told that the trilogy is not super consistent, I guess, that it really peters off after the first book. The first book is really great, and then after that it kind of like goes a little downhill. So I'm a little bit nervous about that one, but I am giving it a try because I think it fits the set in the future prompt even better than Iron Widow does, and I do want to try and fit the prompt as well as I can. So I might just end up reading both if they're both really enjoyable. We'll just see. Then the final course that I'm taking is Lore, which the course focus is myths most known, and the reading prompt is mythology inspired. And for this one, I wanted to do a mythology I'm not super familiar with. I'm pretty familiar with Norse mythology. I'm starting to get more familiar with Celtic mythology, and I'm very familiar with Greco-Roman mythology. So I wanted to avoid those ones. I had to narrow it down very quickly because there's a lot of mythologies that I'm very familiar with that I didn't want to look at because I am already very familiar with those. For lore, I decided to read This Woven Kingdom by Tahera Mafi, and I'm really looking forward to this one. It is about Persian mythology, and I don't know anything about Persian mythology, so I'm really looking forward to learning about it because I'm sure that Tahera Mafi did some artistic interpretations. Really looking forward to getting into this type of a world, especially with a mythology that I'm not super familiar with. I think This Woven Kingdom is going to be a hit for me, especially because I really like Tahera Mafi's writing. I think she has a very like lyrical, beautiful ability to write, and so I'm really looking forward to this one. Now, those are not all of the books that I plan on reading. I do plan on reading all of those books, but I also plan on participating in some of the quests that are going to be opportunities to read other books. And I missed one today because I was at the grocery store and I was like, oh, dang it. Essentially how it works is you have tiers, and we're all down here as initiates, and then we want to become assistants, and you have to get 100 points to reach that level. You get 100 points by participating in quests, or you get points by participating in quests, and that's how you level up, and eventually you become a paragon in your guild tier, and that'll probably take about 4 years to get that many points of continuing with the same character. I haven't decided if I'm going to continue with the same character next year, but I am going to for this readathon and also the readathon in August. As you level up in your guild, you get more renown in your guild, which is really cool. And so you do that by participating in the quests, and you get points for participating in the quests, and the quests are like additional bonus reading prompt type things. So I think that is going to be really fun, and I hope I get to participate in some of those at some point. I think that Magical Readathon is going to be a lot of fun. Both Lex and I are participating in it. It's just going to be so much fun to be able to read all of these books and have some good motivation behind it to kind of develop our characters. And I just think this idea is so cool. I was telling my parents about it. I just think that G at Book Roast is so creative for coming up with this idea. It's just so cool. I'm just like flabbergasted by how cool it is. And I'm really enjoying this opportunity. I hope that there will be some roleplay opportunities to kind of get into your character a little bit more, but as far as character creation and development goes, I think that she has totally nailed it, and I am really looking forward to participating this month. And maybe I'll do a couple of vlogs or something like that. I'm not sure, I haven't decided, but I will do a check-in next month and let you know how it went. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, all that fun YouTube stuff, and do leave a comment, let me know how I'm doing. I would really love to hear from you. All right, bye!